Man, I love me a good story with Spider-Man in the black suit, whether it be Spoderman 3 or Spectacular Spoderman or that one time he killed all his villains in that one Spider-Man storyline. But I really gotta talk about this one thing that always piqued my interest about the time when Peter and the Venom symbiote merged for the first time. And that was how Venom took over Peter's body while he slept and just fought crime. Like, Venom would just puppeteer Peter's body and take on foes like the Sinister Six, and Peter would just wake up the next day feeling like shit, wondering how the fuck he could still feel so beaten and tired after 24 hours of sleep. It's honestly one of the more disturbing concepts of Venom, and I not only find it really horrifying, but also quite interesting. And luckily for you all, and me included, there's a whole comic that shows what Venom would do while using Peter while sleeping. So let's talk about it. In Amazing Spider-Man, Annual Number 1. As we start the story, it briefly goes over the events of how Spider-Man came across the symbiote during Secret Wars, how Spidey's suit was wrecked, and when he needed a repair, he found the symbiote inside a machine and freed it, where Spidey then bonded with the symbiote, and the more time together, the more the symbiote considered Peter a friend. After the battle, Spidey returned to New York, completely unaware that the suit was alive, while the symbiote started getting to know Peter, falling in love with him, finding Peter to be very caring, even saying that the symbiote has never bonded with someone so kind ever. Through the eyes of the symbiote, it sees that Peter's mind is always troubled, trying to keep up with taking pictures for the Bugle, or worrying about taking care of Aunt May and the bills, or even just making it to a date in time, struggling to manage anything in his life. The symbiote, seeing all of Peter's pain, turmoil, and conflict, even in how he sleeps, inspires the symbiote to take control of him. Embracing Peter and wearing Peter like Peter has worn the symbiote. The symbiote plans to do so much in his body. Swinging through the streets of New York, Peter's body is still strong, though his mind rests, albeit forcefully due to the symbiote's several abilities to induce Peter into a coma-like state, so he never wakes up during a fight or anything. The symbiote uses his body to hunt down criminals and to protect the innocent, like stopping this gun-toting purse snatcher. However, where Peter would show some restraint and maybe web up the thug to a pole and call it a day, the symbiote beats the man to a pulp. The woman, witnessing what she thinks is Spider-Man beating the man to near death, tries telling him to stop, but she passes out after witnessing what the symbiote has done to his face after hitting it over and over. And after all this, the symbiote is so pleased that it thinks when Peter awakes, he'll be so proud. Peter then wakes up the next day to find that it's already 5 p.m., wondering to himself how he could have slept all day. And after sleeping in all day, Mary Jane checks in on Peter and wonders when was the last time he showered or had a nice meal. So while waiting for food, Peter talks about how he's been sleeping, but every time he wakes up, he still feels like he could sleep for days. And after their dinner together, Peter promises Mary Jane that he'll see a doctor about it once he has the time to. After walking away from Mary Jane, Peter feels great sadness that they're not together anymore. And the symbiote feels this as well and wants Peter to forget all of the past. Using Peter's body again, the symbiote goes out on the hunt to stop more crime, brutally beating up criminal after criminal, while Peter dreams of saving Uncle Ben from his killer and saving Gwen Stacy from dying at the hands of Green Goblin, letting Peter sleep through all the cruelty, never letting him see the work they do together. But this all rolls over into Peter's mind as he wakes up in pure terror, saying that he had a nightmare in which there was so much blood, which kinda surprises Black Cat.
Yeah, Peter Parker and Black Cat are dating at this time.
Black Cat asks what could be bothering him, and Peter says that he doesn't even know. It could be the nightmares or him feeling tired all the time, even though he can't stop sleeping. And now, even when he closes his eyes, all he thinks about is just hurting people, struggling to understand for himself why he can't stop sleeping. So the next night rolls around, and what do you think happens? The symbiote wears Peter Parker again, and it's almost like routine for the symbiote at this point. But this night, out of all of them, gets a little bit crazier, because the symbiote finds itself in the middle of a turf war. So the symbiote decides to take every single gang member and destroy them left and right. And after completely decimating most of the criminals, a kid walks over shocked, asking him who the hell he is, saying aloud to the symbiote that he thought for a second that he was Spider-Man, but Spider-Man would never beat criminals the way he did. But the symbiote just stands in front of the kid, not saying a word. So after a short bit of awkward silence, the kid thanks Spidey for stopping the thugs and asks for a favor, cutting to a panel of the symbiote swinging the kid back to his home. But in the middle of swinging the kid home, they run into an apartment complex on fire with a man still inside. At first, the symbiote wants to turn away, but knows that Peter would never turn back on innocents in danger. So the symbiote webs up a net around the man's window, giving him a chance to get out safely. After saving the man, the symbiote drops drops the kid off near his home, and the boy says to the symbiote that he may have the makings of a hero after all, as he says goodbye to Spidey while the symbiote swings off. But before the boy can get back into his home, Hammerhead and a few thugs pull up to him asking to have a talk about Spider-Man. The next night, the symbiote takes over Peter again, and in trying to find the boy, deeming him a new friend, the symbiote finds out that he's been captured by Hammerhead. So the symbiote tracks Hammerhead down to an abandoned warehouse full of Hammerhead's goons. And eventually, after taking out each of the goons to save the boy, Hammerhead walks out stating that he knew the goons wouldn't stand a chance, but he just needed enough time to charge a device called the Slagger. Firing the device, it begins to burn off the symbiote from Peter's body. How he doesn't wake up from this, I have no clue. But the symbiote says to itself that it feels pain greater than any pain it's ever felt before. However, before Hammerhead could use the device again on the symbiote, the boy tampers with it, giving the symbiote the chance to fight back. At first, they both fight at equal footing, but when the symbiote remembers how it almost died, it uses all of Peter's raw strength, landing a solid left hook on Hammerhead. And before the symbiote can land the killing blow, the boy tells him to just stop fighting and let's just leave. Thus, the symbiote listens and swings off with the boy. The criminals, after everything, are all just kind of like, wow, he fucked us up big time, but didn't send us to the police. What gives? And Hammerhead is basically like,
Just shut your fucking mouth. Don't ever tell anybody or I'll fucking kill you.
Once the symbiote finally drops the boy off at his home, the boy is grateful for him for doing the saving and everything, but never really wants to bump into the symbiote again because that whole mess was because of him. And after saying goodbye to the boy and coming back home, the symbiote finally lets Peter get some desperately needed sleep and finally realizes it was hurting Peter all along. The next morning, Peter wakes up and swings off to meet with Mr. Fantastic to run tests on the suit. And while running tests, Mr. Fantastic finds that the suit is not only organic, but alive and possibly parasitic, telling Peter to remove it immediately. So Peter tries to take it off, but it won't budge as the symbiote tries to hold on desperately. The symbiote, now feeling betrayed, tries to envelop Peter and take over his body once again, because the symbiote needs Peter. But before the symbiote can fully bond with Peter to take him over, Mr. Fantastic uses a sonic blaster to rip the symbiote off of Peter, leading the symbiote to ask itself why Peter would reject him. After being forcibly separated from Peter, the symbiote feels hurt again, as it's trapped once more, and now feels that Peter hates the symbiote and wants nothing more to do with it. But the symbiote is not done with Peter, not by a long shot, as the story ends with the symbiote vowing to become the very Venom that will poison and kill Spider-Man. I really love this story a whole lot for showing how indirectly disturbing Venom is by how he just took over Peter's body in his sleep, and how the Venom symbiote just decided to brutalize criminals thinking that Peter would be proud of the symbiote. It's just unnerving. I mean, just imagine a gooey alien taking over your body without you knowing it, and then on top of that, while you slept every night, it also used your body to do whatever it wanted without you ever knowing. The thought of that just purely creeps me out, but I hope y'all like this video, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.